everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to tell you about the synopsis of Extraordinary Attorney Wu episode 15. Episode 15 of Extraordinary Attorney Wu begins with a guy called Jin Pyo working at Round. He left the office late that night after receiving an email from a college regarding a covering letter. Unfortunately, he learns too late that the attachment he's just opened is actually malware and he's compromised the financial record of millions of users. For those unaware, this is called spear phishing. Over at Hanvada, Youngwoo sits at the entrance as usual, but when she sees Juno, she hurries out the door and straight to the hospital to see Myung-suk, who's about to go into surgery. She immediately meets his mother, who's dumbfounded to find the attorney there. "Please come back alive," Youngwoo calls as she's taken into the theater. Soo-young rings Youngwoo and tells her to hurry back to the office. They have new client. This link back to the earlier opening we saw, as this corporate case gets underway. Raon is a huge company and over 40 million users across Korea use them. The malware attack was targeted through the computer, undetectable by anti-malware software thanks to its format being a doc file. The police believe the hackers could well be a part of North Korea's RGB. The fact that the world program is spelled incorrectly seems to hint toward this being the case. However, this also means it's going to be nigh on impossible to find the culprit inside North Korea. Not only that, but the company are facing a 300 billion won surcharge on them due to not safeguarding the personal data of customers. After the morning meeting, Soo-young and Minwoo sit together at lunch, but Juno is sitting by himself for a couple of minutes anyway. He is still the heartthrob of the office and he's surrounded by women. As for Youngwoo, she ends up eating in her office. Soo-young heads up to see her, berating Youngwoo for not giving Juno a proper reason for breaking up. Youngwoo deflects her question and counts down the second to the end of lunch so she doesn't have to discuss it further. With attorney Jang Seung-jun in control of the case, Youngwoo contemplates what to do to try and win this. She even seeks counsel from Myung-suk, who survived his surgery, thank goodness. He simply tells Youngwoo to talk to her college. In the courtroom, Jang doesn't make a great first impression, jumping into discussing exactly what a spear phishing attack is. Unfortunately, it's all wasted time as there's no jury here, only reporters and the lawyers, and these guys know all about this already. The judge urged him to get on with it. The case here largely relates to the 3,300 billion won penalty charge for the phishing scam. The fact that the company made so much money last year, in excess of 30 trillion won, according to the defendants, plus financial information for 40 million Korean residents were leaked, justifies Round paying this fee. Unfortunately, as the courtroom is full of reporters gobbling down these quotes, the media outlets run with stories discussing how out of touch Round actually are with their users, given they're squabbling over the amount they need to pay. Naturally, the comment section of these articles are even worse. Jiang's decision to pick on the fact that penalty surcharge is larger than the usual 100 billion given to some companies is clearly a bad move and puts Hanbada on thin ice. In court the next day, Suyeon is chosen over Youngwoo to lead the charge. She argues that there's no causation between not setting up an idle timeout and the hacking. Apparently, there was a keylogger within the malware which the hacker installed. This means the hacker would have figured out the ID and password of the computer sooner or later. The defendant shrugged this off, claiming it is irrelevant due to the legislation and laws around personal data changing. In trial, the CEO of Round gives an impassioned plea, but the stress of it all is just too much for him to bear. Instead, he brandish a cyanide pill and swallows it. As he passes out and begins foaming from the mouth, Yongwoo panics. Juno sees but decides against interjecting, given what's going on between them. Of course, the round CEO being rushed to a hospital like this is bigness, and as a result, the attorneys are hounded outside by a flurry of reporters. Thankfully, Hanbada survived, but there are additional points to note here, courtesy of Youngwoo's latest light bulb moment. Now, it turned out Mr. Choi checked his email and downloaded the file on January 18 at 11:48 p.m. This meant the hacking started a day before the act on the Information and Communication Network, the defendant was mentioning is irrelevant, was revised. Yongwoo brings this to Jung, but he loses his temper with Yongwoo given how brash she is and kicks her off the case. Yongwoo is frustrated and hurries out the door. Outside, Suyeon speaks plainly to Minwoo, encouraging him to put down his tactic and politics for a bit to actually see Yongwoo as their friend and colleague rather than his opposition. Suyeon admits she likes people like that. As for Youngwoo, she heads home but runs into Juno, who happens to be waiting for her. "Why can't we be together?" Juno says. As Youngwoo finally speaks the truth, she brings up what his sister said back on Jeju and how she believes Juno is going to be lonely with her. Juno can only listen in stunned silence as Youngwoo heartbreakingly describes why they can't be together. The next day, Suyeon takes Youngwoo's ideas about the revised act to the courtroom, completely going against Jung's argument. Jung is not happy with his college and promises to kick her off the case if she continues. So, Min-woo stand up and speak instead, finishing Suyeon's argument and gaining the good grace from the judge. The judge promises to take all of this on board in his final decision. Jung is angry at his subordinates going against him but swallows his pride all the time. Off the back of this, Ron actually wins the lawsuit. As we zoom out from the TV broadcast though, we see who the hacker is. It's Tesumi's son. So, that's all for today. See you in the next video. Bye!